Well, here we are back in Mittenrahm, in the Brakenrahm, for the first video of 2025. Obviously, I only a week ago posted the review of the work done in 2024, which was entirely in here, so you're only looking at about a week's worth of doing stuff, which turns out to be surprisingly more than I expected. Refinement of how I did this, particularly understanding how the numbers came together, did speed that up. I reached the pre-existing orange line, did some tidying up to get rid of bits that don't matter anymore. This won't matter either, it probably just as easily have gone with this too. This little bit here is going to be essentially the tail end of the build. It's not the tail end of the creature, but it's essentially was always intended to be emerging out of the void. And this is the end of that. So it will be probably black stone, thinking about obsidian and crying obsidian and some purple, and then there'll be tinted glass to finish it out. And then, based on the way I've done that, we're looking at it slicing across like that. So there'll be swirling bits fading into tinted glass, and then spiral patterns and circles and stuff going up across the body kind of from that point. Possibly even reducing them as I go. I may start bigger at least. Don't know. Still thinking about it. I have a little bit of a breakthrough in terms of what Mawn is capable of now. And definitely at this point, he can still disappear into the void, but he can't spontaneously appear somewhere else. He can't leave the dimension at this point, but he also can't just disappear here and appear behind the Aetherin. In fact, I think it's going to be implied somehow that once he appears here, he can't disappear again. He may be stuck, potentially actually stuck in this position, since he has absolutely no means of moving himself. That's a bit up in the air. But the question then remains is, what has he been losing over time to go from being able to appear absolutely anywhere instantaneously from any other location to this point. He could definitely leave the dimension initially. He may have done this once before returning, and at that point he was then trapped. But that's still being thought through. So yeah, this does need to come back because of what I was explaining here. I'm going to see if I can find a way to work out where this line would be here, so that I can build the spirals and work out exactly where the remainder of this curve should actually stop. In the meantime, I've decided to start building up the far side. It occurred to me that following the numbers for these lines would be more straightforward, but yesterday it suddenly hit me that it may not actually be the case, because what you're looking at here is, well, I need to memorize or at least record the lines, like 2 and then 1 1 1 and then 3 and 2 and 2 2 1 1 1 2 1 3 3 and so on, and it's obviously moves and shifts around a lot for each line, and there are dozens of them. It's all well and good up here when there's like one row takes care of 9 across, but eventually you get to the side and there's a dozen or 17 rows, for the middle section here between the two flats, and that's far more than the spirals going down. The segments that I built like this, there's 42 of them, and the numbers are fairly straightforward. It's combinations of 5 and 4, and then 4 and 3, and eventually we'll get down to 3 and 2. And they're in patterns which I've been recording in order to work out where they should be. And I think I may have to swap back to actually do that, because as people who may be lurking can testify, I'm going backwards and forwards because I can barely remember a sequence of 8 numbers. And I may have to resort to actually writing down, well, the whole sequence, at which point, well, what's the point? Because all of these signs that you can't see because they're not loaded, they've all got it recorded on, you know? I just need to go from here and just follow this pattern again. 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 4, 4, 3. You know, I don't really need to remember any great sequence of numbers. So, yeah, I may have to switch to that because I think it will go faster. Which would be nice, obviously. But once this is done, once this side is up to speed with this side, I will use the fill command to swap out all of this wool back to being blackstone. And obviously at that point I'll take a colossal leap forward in how complete this looks. I was concerned about accidentally hitting the wall that exists in the spikes, but as you can see, they're nowhere near it. I would have to do a ridiculous number to hit it. And I'm hoping that I can actually hot swap the blackstone for all wall variants. That is an option. At least the mechanism is an option. I don't know if it's actually available for wall. I assume so. That all of the wall blocks are flagged as wall, so I can basically use the fill command and the data tag. That's the wording I've been looking for. Use the actual data tag for the wall to swap the entire lot without having to do it color by color. But yeah, that's where it's at. A lot further along suddenly than I expected to be. It's almost like I didn't think of this as finished until it hit this point, and then suddenly it's like, well, this is all there now. I just need to do a few commands and it will all be blackstone. So suddenly it looks more finished to me than it was. But that's what I've been doing. Obviously still a long way to go, even for phase 3. Not to mention phase 4 that's due to be done. But yeah, keeping this short because kind of silly not to. So I'll say adieu. I won't get on with any of that work because I'm at the end of my stream because I forgot to do this at the beginning of the stream. And I won't be building tomorrow either because it's the day that I don't build. So I'll get back to this in a couple of days now. And I'll just keep plugging away at it.